So now I can run my waistband, my 2 sleeves, and my neckband are all prepped and ready to go. Let's pull this back towards me. And I'm going to start at the side seam because I'm going to go back over it. I'm going to start a little bit away, run over the side seam, and then when we go all the way around, I'll run over it a little bit again. And then I'll show you how I tuck in my serger tails. Alright, I want to make sure this lays nice and flat. You're going to have to stretch a little bit as you sew so that the waistband stretches, but again, the shirt doesn't. You don't want that to stretch at all. So I'm going to tuck this under, get it in place. Now, so I have my waistband on top. You can do it either way. But you can see without pulling it that the shirt is looser. So I want to pull this enough that the shirt lays flat and the waistband is being held snug against it. And it's still, with the sweater knit, rolling a little bit. So I take a little extra care. Just make sure that it's really matching up well. Alright, now we're back to where we started. Here's that serger tail. Really want to make sure this lays nice and flat. That's right there, but I'm going to come back to just past the seam. And then I do kind of a quick turn. Okay, waistband is done. Now we're going to get to a sleeve. Now with these sleeves, there's a lot of fabric because of it being gathered. I think I lost a clip. So it's going to be tight no matter what you do because it's a sleeve. And with that basting stitch, it doesn't really stretch much right now. But you have the option of how you want to put this on your machine. And again, it's all just, for me, just personal preference. You can put it this way so that the cuff is up and the gathered is down. I find this easier because then I know that I'm seeing a nice smooth here and I'm kind of holding the gathers in place. I just tucked all of these basting threads to this side because I don't really want to cut them off because then they're all tied up in the serger stitching and they're a lot harder to get out. I tucked them this way because I basted it technically outside of the seam allowance. It'll be a lot easier to pull that thread. And the final thing we have to sew is the neckband. So we're going to start again right at these points. I'm going to do it with this side up just so I can have everything seen here nice and straight. Now this is where we're going to start stretching. Now this time the neckband's on the bottom, so this is bubbled up and we're going to just stretch it, tug on it just enough so that this lays flat against it without stretching this piece. Here's one of those seams that I want to make sure goes this way, but that'll feed through nice and easy. It'll go the same direction the foot tries to press it. Now we're getting to that other shoulder seam, but this one, we now have the center back is about here, and we want this to sit this way. So I have to make sure that feeds through correctly. Right close to it. Get this side set. And then I kind of hold it down. Now we're coming back up to this point here. So we're going to stretch a little to get through here. But now we're back at our basting. We're going to hold this nice and straight. All of this up here. There is that V. Now we can go through and we can start pulling basting threads. So I have this little tool that I got on Amazon. Came in a 2-pack for a couple dollars, and it's a serger tail threader. I can try to find a link and put it in the description. But you run it underneath the threads through the loopers. This one's really hard to see because of the color of the sweater knit. Sometimes it's really easy to run through, and other times it takes a few minutes to feed it nicely. But it's just a little very thin, flat metal. And there's a little hook on the end. So now it's fed through those loopers, and you hook the serger tail on it, and you can pull that through them. See, it's kind of feeding both ways, and I can pull this through, trim that, and then it's all tucked in and you don't see it. Otherwise, your shirt is done. A couple of finishing on your threads. Hey, look at that sleeve. But your P.S. I Love You shirt is now done.